This is our channel. Subscribe to get more videos like this one. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. In this video, we're going to tell you all you need to know about Ethereum. How does it work? What are smart contracts? And what is Web 3.0? Like with Bitcoin, we'll go slow so you can follow along easily. But first, let's talk about what Ethereum is and why it was created. When Bitcoin was released in 2009, it changed the way people saw money. It showed that it was possible to have a currency without a bank or a government. But Bitcoin wasn't perfect. People realized they needed something more versatile, something that could do more than just be money. Enter Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin, a young programmer, wanted to create something that went beyond Bitcoin. He wanted a platform where people could build applications using a digital ledger. Basically, he wanted to create a better internet. An internet where people owned their data and could exchange value directly, without middlemen. In other words, Ethereum is a global computer, a network that lets people build decentralized applications. Applications that run without a bank, a government, or any middleman. But how does this work? To understand that, we need to talk about the blockchain. Remember the giant notebook from our Bitcoin video? Well, that notebook is also the backbone of Ethereum. It's a way of storing information that's shared between computers. Imagine a Google Doc, one that's open to everyone and no one can change. That's basically the blockchain. Whenever there's a new transaction, like you sending money to a friend, it's written in that notebook. Once it's there forever. Nobody can erase it, which makes it really secure. But how do we know who owns what? To explain that, let's talk about something very important in Ethereum: your wallet. Your Ethereum wallet is like a bank account, but without a bank. It's simply a way of organizing information in the blockchain. Specifically, a public address that starts with the letters 0x. That's a wallet. We won't get too technical here, but the important thing is that every wallet has two keys, a private key and a public key. Think of the public key as your bank account number and the private key as your PIN code. Anyone can see your public key, but only you should know your private key. This is super important. If someone knows your private key, they have access to your funds. So keep your private key safe. So now you have an account and there's a giant notebook recording every transaction. But how does it work exactly? Here's where smart contracts come in. Smart contracts are the heart of Ethereum. They're small programs that live on the blockchain. They can be simple or complex. One simple example: a timer. You set it for 10 minutes, and when the time runs out, you receive a reward. But smart contracts do so much more. They can manage money, data, and even entire businesses. In fact, NFTs or non-fungible tokens are simply smart contracts. When you buy an NFT, you're buying a unique piece of code that lives on the Ethereum network. Now let's look at how this works in practice. Imagine you want to pay for something with Ethereum. Normally, you would hand cash to the store owner, but with Ethereum, you simply authorize the transaction through your wallet. Then the smart contract executes and transfers the funds. It's like having a lawyer check the papers before giving you the house keys. Only instead of a lawyer, it's a computer program. It's fast, secure, and doesn't ask for a commission. This is what Ethereum enables. Applications built on top of the blockchain. Anything from gaming apps to social networks. In the future, we'll see more and more everyday things done with Ethereum. Voting, getting married, buying insurance. All of this can be done on the blockchain. So you have an account, a giant notebook, and little programs running it all. But who validates the transactions and adds them to the notebook? That's where miners and staking come in. Miners and stakers are people who help run the Ethereum network. They have special computers that check transactions and add them to the blockchain. For this service, they receive Ethereum as payment. It's like being one of the accountants that checks the giant notebook. Miners validate transactions and make sure everything is correct. Without miners, Ethereum wouldn't work. And finally, let's talk about gas fees. Gas fees are what you pay to use Ethereum. Imagine you want to transfer some money to a friend. You need to pay a small fee to the miner. This fee depends on how much you want to send and how quickly you want it to arrive. Higher amounts and faster transfers mean higher fees. The good news is that fees are usually very low. You probably won't notice them when buying something online. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe so you won't miss our next video. Also hit the like button if you found this helpful. Now let's talk about Ethereum and the future of the internet. As you've seen, Ethereum is much more than just money. It's a whole new way of organizing information. And this brings us to Web3. Web3 is the next generation of the internet. It's a way of organizing information that's decentralized. Instead of big companies controlling everything, Web3 puts power back in your hands. With Web3, you own your data and control your online experience. This is what Ethereum makes possible. We're already seeing the beginnings of Web3 with things like cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and decentralized finance or DeFi. DeFi is a way of doing finance without banks or governments. With DeFi, you can lend and borrow money, trade currencies, and even buy insurance, all through smart contracts. The best part is that anyone can use DeFi regardless of where you live. There are no borders or restrictions. And finally, let's talk about how to get Ethereum. If you want to join the Ethereum network, you'll need to get some Ethereum first. You can buy Ethereum from specialized platforms, linked to some in the description below. Once you have some Ethereum, you'll need a wallet to store it. MetaMask is the most popular option. It's a free software that lets you manage your Ethereum and interact with the network. Don't worry if this sounds complicated. In the future, we'll explain each of these concepts in more detail, so stay tuned. So now you know what Ethereum is and how it works. You've seen how smart contracts make it possible to do so much more than just send money. And you've learned about Web3 and how Ethereum is helping to create the next generation of the internet. But what about the price of Ethereum? How does it work? Ethereum is a bit like magic. It uses something called proof of stake. Instead of miners competing to guess numbers, validators stake Ethereum to participate. The more Ethereum they stake, the higher the chance of being selected to validate blocks. After being selected, they'll help organize transactions and receive rewards. But how can you buy Ethereum? You can buy Ethereum on specialized platforms. Many options are available, including Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken. These platforms allow you to convert your local currency into Ethereum. Once you have some Ethereum, you'll need a wallet to store it. MetaMask is a popular choice. It allows you to connect to the Ethereum network and manage your funds. We'll explore each of these topics in greater depth in future videos. For now, remember that the most important thing is to start learning. Take small steps and don't be afraid to ask questions. The crypto community is huge and there are plenty of people willing to help you. Remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. Subscribe to the channel and be part of this exciting world. Let's keep exploring the future of money together.